Hey, what's up guys? Today's video is going to be quite special as we have Alina Gaming here on the channel. As you can see, he is currently number 1 in the world with HoggyQ, and throughout this video, he and I will be discussing HoggyQ, his plays and the meta. Make sure you check out his channel, which will be at the top of the description. I quickly want to apologize for the audio in this video as it kinda messed up, but I hope you still enjoy. Let's get right into it. Cool, so in this matchup, you're playing against Mighty Miner Recruits Bait. So what do you think about this matchup to start off with? Because I know a lot of HoggyQ players struggle against recruits in general. What are your thoughts on the matchup?
I think it's one of the easiest matchups that you can get playing Hogger Pick. You just gotta be kind of you gotta play passive in single, which I don't usually do, but that's because I know I'm gonna be able to defend most of the time, or even if I lose most of my tower, I know I'm gonna be able to come back, which is like one of the trades that I have. You know, for like other Hogger players, like most of us get like, overwhelmed by recruits, but if you know how to play with your cannon, Skelly, Spirit Barbara very well, it just it's like an easy matchup as long as they have a log for the guy has boost instead. But they have Hawk instead of Bush, it can be like a little bit challenging. But with this version, it's like a very good matchup.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, and actually, I think the biggest thing is, I think what players need to learn is the correct Firecracker placements in this matchup. Because I think when you play a Firecracker in a really bad position and it misses all the recruits, that's I think where people struggle the most. Is that if you don't, like you said, if you don't know how to defend, then you can't really go as aggressive. I should probably ask this question because I'm going to start the video early. But why the bar barrel? Why the bar barrel in this deck?
It just worked so well against Furnace last season. I was playing with Log because a lot of basically every Hawk player was switching to Furnace, but I just didn't see the synergy. It wasn't really working that well. That was pretty high, but I was just like, you know what, let me just play Firecracker. It's a lot better than breaking through because Furnace doesn't do that much on offense as a Firecracker. And then I was staying in, right? Like, just why not play Water? Because there's something personal next from it. You know, sure, it's not that bad, right? Especially with the Log, all the nerfs. I think they now like basically the same arena damage. I think the Log is like slightly more damage, but like Bar is like such a good replacement. It doesn't get tower damage, but honestly, the tower damage has been nerfed so much to where it doesn't really, just doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It's not even most of the time your main win condition in most matchups nowadays, because like you said, they've nerfed it just to high hell. They've sort of made it to the point where you kind of have to force yourself to find ways to get damage. And you're right, I also prefer the Firecracker to the Furnace. I mean, I really struggle in the Furnace meta, to be honest. Like, this Hog Furnace deck was not for me at all. And
Same.
like this bar barrel version, just shockingly, it's actually quite good. And I guess we'll see throughout this video, you'll see like all these kind of crazy plays that you make with it. But okay, so you defend really well, and to players who struggle in this matchup, let's say in double, what are your tips you'd say for defending? Like, quick tips.
For defending double, usually if this deck has Dark on, it's a lot easier, but if they have Firecracker, or it like depends, like if against Firecracker you get King Tower, so if you can't get that, that's you know, pretty helpful. But usually just Mighty Miner Office Swing is the way they're going, and then just really try to cycle like 2-3 Firecrackers, get some cannons down, space the Firecrackers and the cannons to where they can't really arrows both of them, because if they do, then the cannons like basically gonna die. But yeah, just utilizing your Barbara, Skelly's E-Spirit on defense as much as you can. Not really applying pressure all the time, just focusing on defense, getting that on and then after that punching.
Definitely. Yeah, for sure. I think stacking Firecrackers is extremely important, especially because they have arrows, and they'll get rid of that first Firecracker. And if you're not already right back to another one at that point, you're going to struggle to defend. So, yeah, I mean, that was such a clean game.
Another thing in that matchup, like at the start, I had like so much damage. The one thing in that matchup is you need to like learn how to be damage. You try to like perfectly defend like every single push, every single like push, Goblin game, stuff like that. You're just gonna get like overwhelmed. You're gonna get in a back cycle. They're gonna like punish you very heavily. So sometimes like better to take some damage. As you saw, I was down to like 300 HP on the tower, and I was like confident that I was gonna win because there's like no way they can like break through afterwards and like double if I just like play well. So that's like the one mistake a lot of Hawk players making that matchup, is trying to defend everything.
Definitely. Yeah, you're right. You can't actually defend everything perfectly, especially the Spear Goblin. Like, there's some things that get breakthrough. So, Okay, so in this next game, you're playing against Morton, and he's running Pekka. What is it? Pekka Ram Rider with Vines?
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean,
The
so okay.
Goblin dragon.
To start off again, I gotta ask, what are your thoughts on the matchup, and how exactly do you go about playing this?
To be honest, I think this was the second time I played this matchup ever. Earlier, I lost more in this matchup. Now, while I don't think it's bad, it's definitely annoying because you can't really kill Baby Dragon that efficiently, especially if it's like behind the Ram Rider or a Pekka. But it's really just important to like survive single because that's when it's like the easiest to lose. See here, he goes for like a lot of the like very aggressive and some just like knowing that he has to like, utilize it. But I think I defend pretty well here. But it's just about like surviving single and then afterwards just cycling a good amount of firecrackers, cannons. He spares very clutch to like reset the ram rider charge.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a bit hard with Vines because it just takes care of the cannon or firecrackers so well.
Yeah, I'm like, what are your thoughts on the Vine as a card? Like, maybe, I think we sort of discussed this earlier, but Vines doesn't really work, at least as an initial impression, it doesn't work that well in Hog EQ. What do you think how do you think it fares against Hog EQ? Like, when you're playing against it?
I think it's very good in Slugger because you can either use the vines on the firecracker and the tower and it gets like over 100 damage on tower sitting on that. It can be
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot of damage, right? It's like basically almost the same damage as theirs. Or in some like back of objects, they can just use the vines when your cannon plays the mighty arm because it kind of works like a free sometimes. Just stunning the mighty arm for like 2.5 seconds while also killing the cannon. And that gives like the support cards enough time to even like kill the mighty arm sometimes. So it can be like definitely troublesome sometimes. But for the most part, I think it's just like a very good spell. It should get an emergency hitter, but I'm not sure if they will do it.
Yeah, it's definitely really strong. I'm still, undecided as to whether I think it's broken, or just like really good and it can stay as is. I'm not entirely sure. The Evo Baby Dragon though is kind of interesting. So far, I mean, I don't really like this card. I don't know. What are your thoughts on the Evo Baby Dragon as well? Like this introduction of this stupid new card.
I think it's like it. First of all, it's like a 4 elixir card. It's like one cycle. Those have always been broken. If you think about like first evil lumberjack.
Agreed,
But
100%
honestly,
agree.
it's not like broken as in broken. It's just like more like annoying, right? It makes you like
Yeah.
have to play like pitch perfect, for example, like in this deck, right? With the ram and stuff like that. It's also used in some like graveyard decks, making like the graveyard just the scouts just run through your tower, so it makes Earth go into class effecting and stuff like that. So it's more like one of those heroes that makes the match like annoying, more than like bad, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, 100%. And I think for me specifically, sometimes I have really bad internet, and I know people can relate to this. Is that when I have bad internet or it's just a bit slow, and they go for these like lumberjack plus Evo Baby Dragon pushes, dude, I just want to cry, man. It's just so irritating.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Exactly, bro. It's like playing against those like freeze decks. Like, it isn't like that good of a card, but you just know you're gonna have a not a good time playing against it.
Yeah, for sure. And so, okay, in this matchup, I can see you've got damage in both lanes. I mean, mainly in the left lane, but you have changed lanes. Is there any tips you would give to people on how you defend against just a Evo Peck or Ram Rider push when they have loads of support cards? Is there a certain way in which what you cycle first, or placements, anything like that you could give some tips on?
Usually against any back decks, I try to cycle. They go for like a back at the back. I try to cycle my Mighty opposite because what it allows you to do is the Mighty is gonna survive. You're gonna have to defend it one way or another, and then you can just start cycling fighters into the back because if you saw earlier, I cycled fighter into the back. He had to buy it. And then by the time we got to another fighter, he wasn't like already back to mines. He wasn't like that far on because his cycle was also very fast.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this helped just keeping your defenses up while also utilizing the cam. So and you still have the mighty opposite there, right? So you can go for like a hog with that. They're not back to the back, or even if they are, you can't really afford it. So that's why I do against mostly like all beatdown decks. It doesn't like seem negative, like if pressuring for like for mighty opposite, a bit awkward, but it's something you have to do.
Yeah, actually, I'm so glad you said that because it's a play that I make and I've advised people to make, but I've never actually got confirmation from top players, like, is that something that you should do? So that's actually really good to know. That, I mean, it just makes perfect sense. If you play a Mighty Miner into a Pekka, it's just kind of going to die. It's not, you're going to have 3-card cycle for less time. and you're not really utilizing the amount, you know, you're not forcing them to spend more elixir. If you just play it in the opposite lane and let it sit there, you get 3-card cycle for longer, and they have to spend more time or more elixir on the opposite lane trying to defend
Exactly.
it. So, yeah. Awesome. I mean, that was fucking hell, man. You just destroyed Morton like it was nothing. That takes us to our next game against Hypno, and I mean, everybody knows Hypno, right? He has a deck named after him, after all. Yeah. Again, tell me about the matchup. What are your thoughts? Good, bad? Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's usually a good matchup, especially now with the Hypno Log Bait's run with Royale and stuff. So that just it was a little bit hard. Also because obviously the run high squares that E-square is not longer. But here we're starting to see you kind of mess up the bouncing up to 3 pockets, which usually wouldn't have happened. But now with the backline bounces that cat, it's like all of it more difficult because they can utilize it on offense. You know, insanely well. And usually cat wasn't really a problem. You could always work with it. It was just not really being able to kill like dark bombs and stuff like that. But yeah, I still think it's like not a bad matchup, especially in Eastford.
And so, okay, the biggest difficulty that myself and I'm sure other players have when facing this matchup is especially when they get that massive dual lane push and they have their Evo Goblin barrel, and then they just somehow manage to get like 2,000 damage somehow. So in terms of defending, so in single elixir it seems okay because they can't really build up too big of a massive push. But how do you handle it when it gets to double? Like, how does your strategy change from single to double?
Well, actually, it's kind of like the opposite.
Oh,
Because
really?
it's you have the you have the hardest time in single. It's like me personally, because it just kind of you don't have enough elixir to really keep up with all your stamina, and all you can cycle a few more firearms, some cans. But in single, I play that I love to make is just try to get your can down, because if you have a can down, it's like basically it's not impossible for him to pressure, but it makes it like, a lot harder to where if they play something, it's like basically gonna go into the can. You can go for some Skelly Sea Spirit, but as long as you survive single, you should be good in that matchup, in my opinion. Though. But for defending the evil barrel pushes as you mentioned, also just having a cannon out in the middle is gonna make it like so much harder for them. If you place the cannon one tile higher, it's gonna pull the wall breakers from each lane. And that is kind of like what allows you to get a pretty good defense against this deck.
Okay, that's really interesting. I'm going to probe a bit deeper there and ask you, okay, if you're cycling cannon, it's like this deck, for example, they have 2 really annoying ways of trying to deal with it. They either go for like a Dark Goblin in the same lane, and you know, it doesn't cross the bridge if they play it on the inside tile, or they go for like that guy, Hypno just now went for a Princess to try and snipe it. So if they go for, let's say, a Princess or a Dark Goblin, do you try pressuring opposite lane, or how do you deal with that? Because that's often why sometimes I don't cycle a cannon early. Maybe I should be, I mean, I definitely should be. But what is it you do when they go for like a Princess to snipe the cannon that you pre-placed?
Usually, if they go for like a Princess with Darnell, I would have flogged it, but now with having Darnell, it just kind of, you got one like set up with a Mighty. If they go for a Darnell in the bridge, you can just Mighty in the bridge for it, but if you go for a Princess, you kind of just want to kind of for a Mighty into the Princess, to where you're gonna like walk up to it. They can't really attack it because it's just not free Mighty ability. But yeah, that's my main way to kill you.
Okay, that makes sense. That's a good thing to learn. Okay, thanks for that. Yeah. So, okay, if we go back to the actual match right now, it's like, you know, a minute and a half almost remaining, or a minute 40 remaining. And you've obviously got a big lead, but now, like, he's going Evo Goblin Barrel, and how is it you keep up, like, mentally with this spam? Because that's another thing. It's like one thing to be able to know the placements and know what to do, but to be able to think, like, how do you keep up mentally? Are you keeping track of their cycle the whole time? Or at this point, is it just, like, flow state?
At this point, I was kind of selling this this earlier episode of Eagle Cat and just kind of allowed him to get into a good cycle, and I was just kind of falling behind. But here I just kind of knew that I had to get the rotaries down. I didn't think he was gonna like crash as hard as he can. He doesn't have a spell, but he doesn't do enough. So yeah, here just Eagle Cat kind of saves me, just killing everything, and I just get very quick. But you can definitely get overwhelmed very easy against this deck, especially with the Eagle Barrel Dark Wall Breakers. Just can be very annoying, especially with the vines.
Definitely. So this next game against, is it Camille? Is what, Mega Knight? Oh, Mega Knight, okay, right. Mega Knight, Archer Queen, Prince, Wallbreakers, this funky deck. So again, Same question. What are your thoughts on the matchup, and what's the strategy to beat it?
I think it's probably one of the worst matchups you can get in this game because, well, there's a small chance that you can defend the Magnetic Prince Heroes push. The main problem kind of comes from the Queen because you don't really have any for it. You kind of have to cycle a mighty into it, but it is gonna die, and then you don't really have the defense. You can't really cycle a Firecracker into it because it's just gonna die. So that's where kind of like the problem, you know, um, makes itself with the doubling pressures with the Queen and just. I got a nice king tower here with the Falcon, the minions, and then just these
Wow.
heroes. Like the one thing you need to smash up if you like ever want to win it. But you gotta make sure that you can go for like two aggressive king towers because if you try like overcommit for getting the king tower, it's just not gonna work. There I go for Royale with that factor because I was a little bit distracted. I probably could have just boggled, but it works out. Didn't take any damage.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, just spectating that, I thought you were cooked. I don't know how you defended that. I thought once you use the Mighty Miner bomb, don't have a Mighty Miner, you got a Mega Knight coming at you. But okay, that was crazy defense. So this is a matchup that I'm guessing gets progressively worse, and perhaps you can tell me whether this is right or wrong. But usually when I play this kind of matchup, you want to apply pressure when they make a mistake, but generally EQ cycling and just having really solid defense is kind of the way to go. What are your thoughts on that? Like, is that kind of how you play it, or do you have to be really aggressive? What's kind of the way you would play this matchup?
I would say just for the most part, trying to defend walls, you gotta get like a lot of vertex in this match, and also not like any damage. Like for example, if it was like, let's say against some Hypno Log Bait, those wall breakers were coming down, I probably would have sagged it. Wouldn't have wasted my ego camp there, but knowing that if I take 1,000 damage, I have to cycle. What is that like 6 earthquake or something? Maybe like 5.
Yeah.
So you just gotta like preserve all the towers HP that you can in this types of matchups.
Yeah, that's great to hear, because the way I think about it is that it in the matchups where it's just really hard to break through, that's kind of when you need to think about spell cycling more than in matchups where, if you can get to hog to the tower, that's not when you need to be thinking about just spell cycling and defending. In these kind of matchups, because he has Evo Mega Knight, he always has, a Prince. Even if you can get a hog hit to the tower, the counter push, if you overcommit, is going to be crazy. So making sure you just have rock solid defense, EQ cycling, and then, like you said, just trying not to take too much damage. That's always the way I would recommend people to play this matchup. So good to have validation on that strategy. So what is the most annoying? I mean, you said the Queen is like a really, really annoying card in this matchup. I think a lot of people struggle as well with the Prince. Like when they have a Mega Knight plus a Prince. So how do you defend like a Mega Knight Prince push? Especially when they like use Evo Zap on your Firecracker or something.
Yeah, it's very hard when you have the Ego Magnet because what it allows them to do is Magnite, Ego Magnet basically knows the Mighty Power back. And then what it allows the Prince doesn't see it, so it can like charge into the camp or anything else that's in the way. Which is a bit annoying. Also with the Bandit, Bandit's got a dash straight to the tower, even though there can be a Mighty Guard there. If the Magnet units that card's technically fine. So that's like the one small problem. It's really just about cycling. If you can, just try like cycle 2 cans and then some like 5 carries, but I mean they're always gonna get spelled. It is it's like hard to explain, but it's just very like tricky to defend. Like,
No,
very
I
situational,
completely get you.
yes,
I completely get you. And I think instead of telling people what they should and shouldn't do, I think for me personally, what I would recommend people do is kind of play a bit more reactively with how you cycle. So if they go for a play, then you kind of make a play accordingly, and then you try and find and pick holes in like their defense, right? So if they have a bad cycle, you can try and punish them. That you have to be keeping track of. But instead of like just, because it's really hard to say just cycle, firecrackers because they have arrows, but then you also want to be cycling cannons. You kind of want to be cycling everything. So, it gets a bit tricky to really break down this matchup. But I mean, so far these games normally end up really close, and I guess really what people kind of want to know is how do you keep your composure as well? Like when there's so much spam, what is there like a key placement for maybe one of the cards you could teach people? Is that like, you play an Ice Spirit or an E Spirit here, or generally in like a general area? That's a really nice Evo Firecracker, by the way.
yeah. Well, you should actually go for like those slow cans, and then what I'm trying to do is get a Magnet to like either target or even like jump on the Mighty Mark. because then what it allows you to do is you can go for stuns on the prince, and just by the time they zap, the mine is still going basically basically gonna be able to take care of the Mega Knight, and the prince gonna be kind of like stalling the scout. So you gotta like space those out to make sure they can't really zap both at the same time. And another thing is you can fully counter the evil wall breakers off. An interaction a lot of people don't know. You can go for E Spirit and then Log or Barbell afterwards, and it will fully counter it, but you cannot do it vice versa.
Yeah, I just noticed you did it actually in one of those pushes. You went East Spear onto the Prince, which chained through onto the wall breakers, and then went for your bar barrel and saved your cannon. So, yeah, that's a really good tip. Thank you for sharing that. That's a big one. So yeah, this next matchup, dude, even I want to know the tips against this, because this matchup just drives me through a wall. This Goblin Giant, Curse, now it's even got the new card in it, Vines. I mean, again, I'm going to ask the same question, what is the matchup like, and what's the strategy to beat it?
Last season when I was playing this matchup, I would say it's like a bad matchup. I was struggling a lot against it because it's just really easy to make those
That's the
small
problem, it's so
mistakes.
easy to choke this.
Yeah, well, it might not seem like that on paper, right? We can have like reset and stuff like that. It can just be like, oh, it's just very annoying. But not with the Levi's, but yeah, I don't know, they were kind of padding a bit with that once you got good breaks. But usually what you can do in this matchup is you can activate the King Tower off the Golem Machine. It's like a very specific placement. You can do it with either Mighty Miner, Firecracker, or Easter. It's kind of like in front of your King Tower, but like kind of in the corner, but not like complete corner. It's like hard to explain, but like second tile from the middle. And
Yeah, I got
you
it.
get a King Tower from the Golem Machine.
I got you.
It helps a lot. It helps a lot.
For sure. Yeah, I've seen some top players doing it, and it's something I recently learned. I'll try to put an overlay on screen for you guys so you can see the King Tower activation. But yeah, I mean, the biggest problem with this deck, I mean, now that the curse has been nerfed, I'm not sure how different it really makes the matchup, because I guess now they don't have that damage amplification, which before was just ridiculous. It does have more base damage though, so I guess, yeah, honestly, I'm not even sure how this matchup fares anymore. But what is your strategy in beating it? Like, now we're about to enter double in like 20 seconds. What are you thinking at this point? You have a nice lead in single, so what are you thinking at this point?
Usually, whenever they like try to set up a push, this is like one of the matchups where you never want to pressure with defending. Even though if you let's say you know they're gonna go for like minions on the hawk, and then you want like prediction you can, just like one mistake, just them thinking for once in the matchup and being like, you know what if I don't do that? What if I do that? And just like one small mistake like that, or like an interaction, or a defense change from that, just like really mess you up. So it's just focusing on the defense. Selling like up to $5 if you can. Smart Bar again, now they have bounce, but it's still a very good card for the off time because they can't really use it on they can't really use the bounce in the fire. So just cycling it all counts, Evo counts especially very nice against minions, and just distracting the prince a little bit. And it shouldn't be that hard. I mean, Barbell for is just insanely good. But yeah, that's about it for the defense.
Well, okay, I have a question. I've seen you now twice in two different matchups go for these ridiculously good Evo cannons where you just hit everything, even the minions. Are you keeping track of their cycle and you think, oh, he's going to go minions now? Or like how are you doing that? Is that an element of luck in that? Or is it just, you know the placement and you think, okay, he's going in at this timing, so I'm just going to go for it now and hope he goes for minions or something?
It's kind of like, usually I know they're gonna go for, or that they want to go for minions. So, like most of the time, I know they're gonna go for it, but they don't always end up going for it. So, usually when I hit it, it's kind of like, anticipating that. It's kind of like a prediction play. But, sometimes I do also get kind of lucky as well. They just kind of like apply way too much pressure, and then Evo kind of just ends up getting insane value. So, it's kind of like 50-50, I would say.
Yeah, because I mean, there have been some crazy plays, and those cannons, they're really hard to do. You make them look easy, but they're not. It's not easy to always hit those predictions, and I guess that comes from experience and just thinking, oh, he's probably going to go in now, and he does. I mean, maybe not every time, but a lot of the time. Yeah, I think that covers most of the replays. I mean, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Another thing on the Evo cannon, so many people don't utilize Evo cannon offensively as much. As you saw there at the end, I think I went for a high Evo cannon which can just like it provides defensive value, but also it allows you to like hit the minions on their side of the field, right? It's like
Hmm.
sniping them with a fire, but they usually get a block fire. So it sounds crazy, but like playing offensive evil cans, it's I do it often as well, especially in those like big pushes, just like knowing that they're gonna try to find like cheaply as cheap as possible. I think I did it in the Magnet game actually, not this one, but yeah, just really trying to get the defense value from the cat, and then also applying some good pressure as well, just making sure they can't really defend, because then they have to be overspend on defense and can't really their pushes can't fall apart.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, those are some incredibly useful tips, and uh, yeah. I mean, first of all, thank you for sharing that on the channel. Um, to those of you guys who don't know Alina Gaming, he's been around for a long time. One of the best Hoggy Q players in the world. He has a YouTube channel as well. I'll link it in the description and also put up a little graphic on screen. Go ahead, subscribe to him, and yeah, thanks, Alina. Thank you so much for sharing these games, and best of luck for your pushing.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. It was a good time.
Wonderful. Well, thanks, and thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.